I think this is the first time I've ever been live on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exciting. Exciting, exciting. It just takes a minute. So, all right. I think we are live. Awesome. So welcome everyone joining in. And hi, Nicole. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And let's see. I think I'll leave it where you're showing up. I think the speaker shows up, so that works. So I'm excited to talk with you today, and just wanted to invite you on here to share a little bit about your experience, both in our program, but also just some of your successes you've had recently and how you've created them, because we have a lot of coaches in this group and people who want to be coaches, and they are, just getting started. Some of them have been doing it for a while. But the thing I hear again and again is like, how do I get clients? How do I actually make this thing go? I'm hearing a lot of people say, like, I'm trying all this stuff and it's not really working. And so I thought to bring you on and really share what has been working for you. So first of all, if you would just introduce yourself, where you live and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Nicole Marischka. I am an actress, and I've been working as a coach for a long time, but somehow hidden. So I was one of those who didn't know how to get clients and how to do all the business stuff. And I was really appalled of it. I didn't want to go there. I didn't like it. My image of making business with what I do there, it was really bad. And I have 2 children. What else is there to say? I'm an artist, I'd say. So
nice. So multi-passionate, multi-talented. So yeah, I love that you said that you were just like kind of had some, what did you say, resistance, so you didn't want to go there with the business. And obviously that's changed, because we'll talk about some of your results in a minute. But first, let's go back to before we started working together. Just tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life, and not just like what was going on, but also what were you feeling?
Okay. So I started in 2019, which was really a changing year for me, because somehow I had a good life, so I was not unhappy all the time or something, but I just sensed that I'm not really completely authentic with who I am, and I had an idea of what that is, but I didn't really know yet. So, but I came to the point where I actually kind of, in German, you say you let the hammer fall, which means just you stop. And I said, well, I'm stopping right now. I'm just not doing things anymore that I don't want to do. And I didn't have enough money to do that. I didn't have much. I just had it was a decision, really. And from there on, I started to learn. I started to take courses all the time. I had great acting courses, and I hope I'm not tiring you.
No, I just have a breathing thing, so sometimes I have to yawn.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, these stories actually are tiring, because when you're kind of, like working hard and doing the best you can, it's hard. And I didn't want to have it that kind of hard anymore. I was always willing to put the work in it, but like to I walked towards a burnout in a way. But when I let my hammer fall, I became curious about where to go, and I took lots of classes, great acting classes also, which really changed my life. And then and then I stumbled across you last year, and that's the training that I am still in. Thank God. I really love this training, and that was the best out of acting classes, the best thing that I could do. Yeah.
So what was it that had you say, I'm really curious about this, or I should get on a call about this? How do you actually take that action to come in?
Yeah, so within these last years, I really made a lot of changes in my life. But of course, also the global crisis, I wasn't untouched by that. I really was shaken quite a bit by it. And the second half of 2021, I was really exhausted, deeply exhausted, and I've been trying so much, and I didn't really know where to go. And then my daughter came, and she said, there's this weekend. It was this weekend. I don't know what's the name. The woman you're
into. Yeah.
She wanted to participate. So I said, well, I'd rather participate with you to see where you're going. And that was just beautiful this weekend. It was really affordable, and you put everything into it. I really thought it was, you gave it all for a weekend, what you can do. And that made me say, I'm going to do this. I mean, I've been working with Gigi, your mama, before, and I love to work with her. But that was really long time ago. So I said, it's time to go back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work on myself, and I wanted to, polish my coaching. And I didn't think so much at that time to make it a profession and to earn from it. That came while doing the program.
A lot of times people don't know exactly why they're joining, right? They're just like, have a sense that it's the next step for them. So you came to this weekend. It was a 2-day online event for anybody who wasn't there or didn't hear about it. And then you got on a call with us. Yeah, you were curious to learn what else. And then what was it like in that call? Like, what was it that had you say yes to the program? Was it like, oh, I want to brush up on my coaching skills? Or what was the feeling? Or what was it that you were like, oh, yeah, this is. Do you remember?
I was already one before. I wanted to say yes. So, but what really makes me like, what I really just love, and I knew this before, and I just kind of lost it during the years. I mean, it was kind of, I think, 18 years or so that I did the trainings with Gigi. It's this thing that I believe that there is the genius within all of us, and you find it not through knowledge, but really so it's an energy that you go into. And just this approach so the sparkle in the eye, where come the aliveness was the word that catched me. Aliveness was the word, yeah. So that really catched me, and I just said, well, I want to have more of that in my life, definitely.
Nice. So when you heard about that, and you knew some about it from years ago, right, working with us, and so you saw to really do that, it sounds like, for yourself as well. Yeah. Nice. And did you have any fears or hesitations, or were you nervous about investing in yourself, anything like that?
Well, I already invested in myself big time before, so that was a breakthrough. But I didn't have the money when I signed up, and that really scared me. But I also knew that my connection to money is not very, how do you say, effective, not really getting it wasn't just not somehow not true. It was difficult, money is kind of difficult, and it's hard to get. And I just knew that it's a mindset, but I didn't know how to solve that.
So you had that, but you still said yes, and you went on a payment plan, right? And just said, "But I'll figure it out."
Well, I said, first thing was that, I've never not paid any bills. So I've paid my bills. so I can do this time. And I was, of course, going for growth. So I wanted to develop and growing. And so I knew that I won't be where I was before I started. I knew that I will develop and change and grow. I just didn't know how. And I just trusted you, I think. I trusted the program.
Nice. And so what have been some of your results? It's been what, 6 or 7 months, right, into the 9-month program.
6, yeah.
And what has shifted for you in your business and you and your coaching? Just tell us a little bit about the transformation so far.
So I guess the biggest change is to call myself a professional coach and to have found kind of my way, because when I've been coaching through all the years and in different areas, and always somehow in the background or always for somebody, but to step out there and say, well, here I am, and I am coaching now in, if you want to, in kind of my style, which is a combination of the aliveness mastery, of some acting tools and some things that I learned along the way. But that was really a breakthrough, to have the courage to do that. And I also got the courage through these 3 pillars that are in the training that I really, well, I think it's brilliant. The one pillar to actually polish the coaching skills. I mean, to really become a good coach, to train it, to try it out, to do it all again, and to make the mistakes. And the second is to really work on yourself, so that you know what's going on with yourself, so that you wouldn't project on anything, that you get to know yourself, and that you also get to grow yourself. And the third one is the business, that you actually do it and apply it and know how to get through to people who could be interested.
I remember you posting in some of the threads, the chats, right, that we have in the program, that everybody stays connected. And I remember you saying something, this was a couple of months ago or a few months ago, about, I'm so glad that that you have this step-by-step system of how do you, like, you're not only learning the coaching side and, like you said, your own personal transformation, and I want to hear more about those too, but that you also have the step-by-step system to go out and get coaching clients, right?
Yeah, because when it comes to that, I mean, this is kind of the personal growth and the business growth. When it comes to business, my mind just goes berserk, you know, I'm going crazy, and I'm just so I'm going completely, oh, and I have to think about this, confused, and then I just decided, well, you know, normally I hate to do that, to do it like step by step by step, follow the instructions. And then I just said, well, just do it, you know. And so, because before there's the business boot camp, and I kind of followed it. So that didn't really work out so well. So then I decided, actually, by getting the kick, like, do it, I really decided to listen to the words and just follow the instructions step by step by step. And guess what? They work. So
I love that. We were just chatting before we got on, and I was saying, you know, I've seen that time and time again. It's like the people that get in and they really follow the approach, and then they can find their own unique way from there, right? Other ways to put themselves out there. And we can talk about more advanced strategies, but the basics work, and they work to get people to their first, you know, 5K, 10K months, whatever you want to call it, consistently. And so it's always like such a joy for me as a coach when people do that, and I get to see them getting the results, because it really does work. And I think it's an important point that you made, because I always see there's 2 different sides to when people are feeling stuck and not really earning with their coaching. There's the strategy side, the steps of what do I actually do? And then there's you could call it mindset side, or like what is getting in the way? What are the patterns, or what are the fears and doubts that are getting in the way? And what I heard you say is that first you were sort of dipping your toe in the water, but maybe some of that stuff was still getting in the way. And then through the coaching that you were getting in Aliveness Mastery, because that's a huge component of it, is you also getting coached and working through the frameworks yourself, that you finally said, no, I have to be serious about this. I'm going to commit to this and really, really do it. So you were able to move through some of that mindset stuff and then actually go and follow the strategies we had. And it worked. Yeah.
It worked. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And I guess there were two things that also just worked very good. Is like, while I was, that I grew while I was like connecting people, asking what they needed, if they need something. So that was the first thing that I gained confidence in my coaching. So I was just so, or I am right now, so in the training that I'm so connected with everything. So that gave me confidence to say, okay, I've got something here that I can actually give out to the world, you know?
Yeah,
And
because you
then
raised your prices, right?
what?
You raised your prices, right?
I raised my prices, yes.
And you've enrolled several
Which
clients.
was a big, I mean, you know, to do this, to have the confidence to do this, and then to know that I can deliver, that was huge for me. Huge. I mean, this was not thinkable before. But the second thing was also that when I'm like, I always had the thing about, you know, when you're reaching out to people and you want something, you want to bring your stuff to them, which is so disgusting. And I just didn't want to do that. So, and I thank God I didn't want to do it, because that's not the way how you do it. It's disgusting. But to really reach out and connect to people, and to just see where are they, how could I be in service whatsoever, you know, when they needed, like you were yesterday, there was a woman having problems with her son, and you said, well, my sister is doing like family, she's a great family coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you just don't know what people want and need. So it's actually to go out there and just say, how can I be in service? If I can, if I can't, doesn't matter. But it was a nice conversation. It was a not a superficial blah blah conversation. And I had those too, but with some people really, like when Gigi said, I think she said, if you want to be interesting, get interested. So those are the sentences that kind of hang to me, you know. And
Yeah.
there was some others that I don't remember right now. But this is a sentence that I find just brilliant.
So you talked about the money mindset before. Do you feel like that's starting to change, or you've had any shifts there?
I still have to work on that. But I totally have shifts there. Well, it is getting more playful. It is not so serious. And I just realized that with almost everybody I talk, money is the one of the top issues why you don't do things that you like, or that you're actually really light up with, want to do and dream of doing. But no, it's I cannot afford it. And it's just always coming. It's this thing. And I just decided not to go there anymore. And sometimes I do, I have to say. But I believe that, well, I believe that when you have a good product, when you have interest in people, and when you're when your heart is open, you will find a way to create money somehow. I did.
Can we talk about the money game? So we have a process in the business boot camp, and a lot of people have a lot of resistance around it at first, right? But once they get to a point where they're client ready, is what I say, where they have their packages and their pricing and they know what they're going to offer and who they want to serve, then we do something called the money game. And they learn, by the way, outreach and authentic sales and being in service and all these things you talked about, so that they can have these conversations in a non-salesy way, in a very service-oriented way. And so then I say, okay, great, then let's go for your money game. And people create a number that they want to create in terms of business in a 30 or 60-day period. And so the whole group, anyone who's at that point in the program, will do this kind of game together. And at first people have a lot of resistance around it. A lot of the time they're like, yeah, but it's not about the money. I said, it's fine that it's not about the money. If it was just about the money, you would go be a banker or an investment, whatever, right? And nothing wrong with that. But you've all chosen to do work where you're making a positive impact, right? And you want to be able to pay your bills, and you want to be able to do the things that you want to do. And so we have to focus to create numbers, right? Not trying to sell everyone something they don't want, but really just putting the focus on hitting your numbers in your business to be able to sustain and grow your business. So all that to say that we were going for a money game this last round, and you jumped in. Yeah. And you don't have to share the exact numbers, but what did you finally at the end? Because I think a lot of the time went by and you hadn't hit it yet. Right. And right at the end, you really pushed through and came through. So like, what were some of the things, because for anyone watching, whether or not they're in our program, that are struggling to kind of hit their goals, what were some of the shifts that really had you get there? I saw you do a few different things. There was consistency, first of all. I'll precede a couple of them. And then the other thing was you finally saw what you really wanted, something you were excited about, right? So just share a little bit.
So I have to start with, I wasn't happy about this money game. I know those games, and I said, oh no, now they're coming with this. I don't want to, but okay. So I so much trusted the program so far that I said, oh, okay, I'm going into the money game, whatever. But it was for me kind of, while I was committing to it with a signing to myself that I'm committed to that, I actually was more committed to the people's game, if you want to. So that was really my first commitment, that I said, if I'm contacting people, oh God, when they're watching now, they say, oh, that's why she contacted me.
Aww.
No,
but the whole thing with the money game is being in service, right? So you have the game that's in the back of your mind, but just for anyone who is watching, the way we do it, you never try to sell someone something. You just get on and you're in service to people. You have good conversations. If it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, great. Or if you see, like you said, that you can connect people with someone or a resource or whatever, then you do that. Our whole approach is not going out and selling people things they don't want or need. It's just getting in the practice of being in connection with people. And then some people end up being curious and naturally. So it's not trying to sell people something.
No, I wanted to make that. I wanted to actually say that that's exactly the way that I received this game. So my goal was to really enjoy the time with people, and I connected many people that I haven't seen for many years, so that have been spoken for many years. And the fun thing is that, somehow you don't have time for people when you have to go for whatever money or the things that are draining you somehow, but those people were people that I actually really wanted to connect and to really see where are they, how are they, I'd like to dig deeper with them, and to just build the connection and build on that. So that was that turned out to be my money game, to really go into connection with the people that I have met throughout my life in a way, or that I've met recently. And there I learned, I was asking people if they want to try out some of the coaching, and they were really like, no. And I was, oh my God, I shouldn't have maybe not asked, but that was okay. So it was a little shocking, but I could understand, and that was okay. So to be really open to, they say no or yes. And some, I was the same astonished that some said, oh yes, I would love to do that. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So it's just, you never know and you never know who you are for the people. So I guess my self-image, I put that aside in a way, and I looked to who I was for the people, and that was also very astonishing and beautiful in a way.
Nice.
So it was a,
Yeah, and we also teach a 2-call system, right? So you're never selling anybody something when you call them or when you reach out to them. You're only having a conversation. And only then, if they say they're curious, you do a whole separate call. And then they know it's about the coaching, right? Or it's about seeing what that's like. So it really creates a different energy that you're not just outreaching. And then what was the thing that you finally at the end, you were like, you saw something you wanted and you decided to go for it. Do you want to share?
so, I mean, I have already given me this training, and it was a lot of money for me, which I, by the way, earned back through the training. So I have to say, sometimes I think you're very cheap.
More, I think, now than you invested in the program anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've earned more, I think, than your original investment in the program. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
but well, I didn't expect that at all. But then there was this retreat, a women's retreat, all about sensuality that takes place in Costa Rica. And I was just reading that. I was just, oh my God, I wish I could be there. So I told myself, well, if you reach this and that number, I think if you get 2 other clients, then you may do it. And it sounded kind of okay. And then while doing this, and really I have to say, to reach out and like following instructions and doing the step-by-steps also gives you a lot of, I felt really great doing that. Although it sometimes was like, oh, come on, today again. Yeah, but it gives you I was really very focused, and that's a good feeling. So somehow I had the feeling, it has to be the other way around. You have to first really light up yourself and give it to yourself, allow yourself to rejoice in that, and then you find your 2 clients. So, and I just did that.
You signed up for the retreat. You signed up for the retreat before you got the clients, and you got the clients within both of them within a week, right? Or something.
Yeah. And I couldn't afford the training either. So.
Seems to be a theme with you. Now we know how it works, right? You just sign up before you can afford it, and then you make it happen. Awesome. Well, I just wanted to share that for people who, again, are really going for something in their business, or they feel like they're struggling to get clients, to have some inspiration there. So thank you for sharing.
Maybe I should say, it sounds a little bit like, yeah, okay, this is, so I know that it takes a lot to earn money. You have to dig. You cannot just say, well, I wish the money was there, and then it is there. And because I allowed myself to a gift for myself, now the money is there. So it is really a certain kind of. So you have to shift your mindset, and you have to do what has to be done, and you have to put in the steps. And so it's not like, it's really building up something that, and I think that now that I've done it, I'm at a new point to do it again, and to even like to do it consistently, to make this thing a true blossoming business. So it's not a one-time in a way,
You're learning skills for life. When I learned sales, when I first started in my coaching business, it was incredible, because then I could do all the marketing, right? I could put myself out there on social media. I could do webinars or do whatever I wanted to do. And then when people came in, I knew how to have a really great, powerful conversation with them. And then if they were the right fit, how to help them make that investment in themselves and say yes to the coaching. And if I hadn't learned that skill, so many people we've worked with, I wouldn't have worked with, and they would have their lives wouldn't have been changed. Like they tell me how they've been changed, right? Years later. So it's such a powerful, and that's not just on the sales and the business side, but also the coaching side, right? Everything you're learning that you've been learning in this program, there's skills you take with you for life, right? Into your coaching, into your business, into your own life. So yeah, so talk a little bit more, we'll wrap up in just a minute here, but talk a little bit more about like, what do you love about the program? Let's go back to Aliveness Mastery, the certification. I know you have an amazing like pod that you're a part of, and you guys are so connected. Just talk a little bit about what else for you.
Well, there's nothing I don't like about this program, really. I think it is, I think the tools are just brilliant. I think the whole, like, I am always, my personal dream is in a way that, yeah, everybody has a genius, and everybody has a big heart. So people are in general good. And the question is, you don't see so much good. And so why is that? And I just think that because they're not seen as who they are, they are not there. There is no space or rare space where they can actually really come to who they are. And those tools, those coaching tools, are just like doing that. And so they're all such individual human beings with their own brilliance, and I just love this. And I love I was very not so happy with the lots of PowerPoints, but in the end, I really appreciate them because there's also step-by-step way to how to do it, and to be very, very, how do you say, respectful with working with other people. So there is no knowing better. There is no, I guess, right or wrong, but there's just like, if it's working or it's not working. I think the team of you is wonderful. I mean, the coaches they are working with us, they're brilliant and decent and lovely. And they've gone all through the thing themselves, so they know what they're talking about. The group is just lovely, and it's so great to also to grow and work with women who are on the same path, who are just going the same way. And you have your ups and you have your downs, and it doesn't really matter. You're on the path of growth. So I love that. I love the combination of to do it with business, because that really enables you to immediately apply it. And of course, it is like, of course, when you apply it in 2 years, it's going to be different, because you're not the same. I'm not the same anymore in 2 years. But I now feel safe to be able to contribute to people big time. So it's a brilliant, easy to follow. I mean, it's so much information. It's just so much input. It's sometimes too much, but I can go back, I can go back and say, there was something that I didn't really completely, how do you say?
Grasp.
So I go back and I say, I'm gonna do this now. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. And what about, can you talk to the community aspect and the women?
They're lovely, and I mean, I really think that's really something that's empowering women. I mean, if you talk about the women should have another standing in the world, I think that's how it should be, because it's very individual. Every woman is like as they are, and I think also the money part is a big part that empowers women. It empowers me to be independent and to do my own decisions.
The part where you earn money through what you learn.
You have to do it, because also as an artist, if you have ideas and projects, they're all not working because of the money. It's always that there's creation, there's art, there's community, but there's no money. So it's always the money that it's where it's breaking down. So many times I've experienced that. So it's amazing to put that into, and I like it.
So just one last question. I just like to have people answer this because so much is your own transformation as you go through a program like this. So if you just finish this sentence, I now stand as a woman who.
I now stand as a woman who, oh, that's a tough one. Who's bringing her best into people's lives and the world, who's absolutely believing in that our world is savable, that we can go into the tragedy of it, which is done a lot, or we can go into the magnificent world that we can create, and that is within every single person. I'm a woman who is supporting that.
Nice, nice. So from exhausted, you said, and the state of the world and everything when you joined, to a whole different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that the thing is that I knew I wanted to be like that. So that was always a part of me, but it's just a different thing to be a part of that.
Well, thank you, Nicole. Thanks for sharing your story. Yeah, inspiring some others here in the group. So, and I hope to, well, I'll be connecting with you soon. Yeah, and see you in Costa Rica next week, right? All right. See you then.
Right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.